Hello everyone, it's Kim here. Today we'll be making sesame seed balls. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more videos. I may be biased, but these are the best sesame seed balls I've ever had. They're crispy, chewy, fresh, and I don't think I can ever go back to buying store-bought ones ever again after this. The mung bean filling here is amazing. It's light, it has the perfect amount of sweetness in it. I think I prefer the mung bean filling, but this can also be replaced with red bean filling. To start off, we'll be making the mung bean paste filling. I'd recommend starting this maybe the night before at least. In a bowl, add the mung beans and cover it with some water. We're gonna at least let this soak for 4 hours or overnight just so they can cook faster. Give it a little stir so the beans don't stick together. Just cover it and let it sit there. Afterwards, the mung beans should look a lot bigger. Take the mung beans out and rinse out the dirty water. This is such a pretty yellow color and makes me kinda happy. We're cooking the mung beans in a rice cooker bowl, so go ahead and add them in there. Add some water to cover the mung beans. I think this is the best way and the easiest way to cook mung beans rather than standing over a pot and watching it cook for hours. While the mung beans are cooking, I'm going to put together some sugar water for the mung beans by combining a half a cup of water and a half a cup of sugar and just stirring this together until it dissolves. My mung beans are done with no effort needed. This was in the rice cooker for exactly 60 minutes. I'm mashing them in between my fingers right now just to show you how soft they became. So we're just gonna go ahead and add in the mung beans into another bowl, just so these can cool down a lot faster so we can continue on to the next step. And look how soft and fluffy the filling is. I was tempted to just eat it by itself right now. Let the beans cool down completely before continuing on to the next step. Gradually add in the sugar water and stir. I did find the whole thing a little too soupy for my filling, so I did gradually add in 1 tablespoon of potato flakes a little bit at a time until it became the consistency I wanted. You want the mung bean filling to be firm enough that you can roll it into perfect balls, and you can test it out while you're doing this to see if it's the right consistency. I want it perfectly shaped sesame seed balls, so I wanted to make sure everything including the filling was nice and firm. The size of filling is up to you really, but you want to be at least consistent with the size you're doing. I'm gonna go with this small random ladle thing as a guide, scooping up some filling and just rolling it forever and ever until it becomes a ball. And I'll do that forever and ever until I finish making the rest of the balls. If you find someone willing enough and coordinated enough, you can ask them to help you with this step. Keep your mung bean covered with a damp cloth as you're working on it to keep it from drying out. Now that the filling is done, you can set that aside and work on the dough. In a bowl, add in 2.5 cups of water with 1 cup of sugar. Stir it until it dissolves completely. Add in the potato flakes. It might sound really strange to add potatoes into here, but it's a really important ingredient. You're not going to end up tasting the potato, but it's more for the texture of the balls. We're going to add in this entire bag of glutinous rice flour. It amounts up to 16 ounces of flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 1 cup of rice flour, if the dough is not the consistency you want it to be, go ahead and add in 1/4 of a cup of water a little bit at a time. You may not even need it all. You want it to be stiff enough to roll into a perfectly shaped ball, and it'll kind of feel close to bread dough. If it ends up being too wet, you can add in potato flakes a tablespoon at a time to make it more thick. Keep the dough covered with a lightly damp paper towel as you're working on it. I'm dividing the dough up to 1/3 of a cup each. You don't have to measure it out if you don't want to, I just wanted to be very consistent in sizing. Continue dividing the rest of the dough. A lot of this stuff is repetitive, but it's very simple. My and sweet fiance was nice enough to help me roll out one ball before I fired him and made him measure out the dough instead.
Is this good?
More smoother. Here, you want to measure it out instead. Just peel it out. And it's all done. Add the sesame seeds into a bowl. Just a personal note, this sesame seed bottle was not enough for the entire recipe and I need to get 2 bottles next time. Grab a piece of dough and flatten it with your hands. There are some cracks here and there, but as long as they're at the edges and not at the center, I'm fine with that. Grab a piece of filling and add it to the center. The way I did this, it's sort of hard to describe. I basically bunched it up, started spitting the dough in my hands in a circle, and I just worked my fingers to gently push the dough over the filling. And I think 100% of the time I was telepathically telling my dough to please close up, please close up. If it helps, I'm showing you an unedited clip of what I did because my explanation was pretty bad. And it finally sealed up and I rolled it again into a ball. The whole thing should be firm, not sagging, so when it's sitting here waiting to be fried, it'll keep its shape. What are you looking for? No. The next step is adding the sesame seed to the balls. I want the balls to be slightly wet so the sesame seed balls can stick to it. So what I do is wet my hands in the sink nearby. I gently roll the dough in my hands. Then dry my hands and then dip the dough into the sesame seed. It helps to move the ball around to cover the ball. Continue forming the rest of the sesame seed balls. Now that you assemble together the dough and the filling, you can start frying your sesame seed balls. A piece of paper towel would have been fine, but I picked up this oil absorbing paper from Daiso. I'm placing it on a plate to absorb any excess oil. I'm using my cute pink Dutch oven today. Add a whole container of clean oil into the pot. Heat it to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. If you'd like to use a higher temperature, go for it. I have some really big sesame seed balls, so I wanted to cook them slowly. I'm frying it for 20 to 25 minutes each batch, cooking 6 at a time. You can always test out a small batch to see how fast it will cook because the time really depends on the size of your balls and the temperature of the heat. Fry these until they're golden. It's a little bit of a pain, but the entire time they're cooking, you need to constantly keep stirring them with the chopstick just so they don't stick to the bottom of the pot, and they'll be perfect round balls. You can hear very faintly in the background me and my mom arguing over the temperature of the oil. I wanted a slow and steady 250 degrees Fahrenheit and she wanted me to raise it to 310. I tested them in 2 different batches and they both work fine. Once they become golden, just carefully remove them from the heat and strain out any sesame seed balls that didn't make the cut. I know it'll be super tempting to bite into these freshly fried sesame seed balls, but don't do it. You need them to cool down for an hour just so everything inside will relax and become crispy and chewy. It won't even taste good straight out of the fryer, so just wait. Thank you for watching my video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Be sure to watch my previous video. Follow me on all my social media sites. And let me know how the sesame seed balls turn out if you made them. Hashtag me at HungryMooMooCow. And bye!